Hello.
Hi guys,
Okay, so this is Douglas and Szilard with another
across ocean.
Across Oceans with Douglas and Szilard. Um, and we're doing something different for a change. So I'm going to be the one that's leading the conversation this time. And the conversation of today is how do we embrace conflict? How do we embrace conflict resolution? And
Or how do we fight
how do we fight
without losing each other?
without losing each other? And it came to me because I just, you wanted to make sure that, both of us are contributing and both of us are coming up with ideas. Um, and I don't know, it just came to me and I'm excited to talk about it. So,
hmm I think it's a great topic because every relationship has that, question, and um, without conflicts, there's no life, there's no relationship. So every relationship have to
right.
figure out a way to
Hmm.
resolve conflict
Right.
and find solutions.
Absolutely. Uh, and it can go so many different ways with conflict because I think that as humans, we're all prone to having conflict. So I guess I can start with how, what is a way that you, Szilard, have dealt with conflict in the past and how,
Yeah,
what's a way that you have dealt with conflict in your past relationships?
in my relationships. Yeah, well, yeah, it's a long history because I had several relationships, and I would say that I actually got to know myself in relationships because you know, that's when you actually discover who you are
Mm-hmm.
in these conflicts. Before that, you have certain, ideas about yourself, who you are, and self image, a certain self image. But, that idea could be completely shattered when you get involved in conflicts in a relationship. And then that's the real you, actually. That's when the deeper layers of, yeah, your personality come to show. And that's when you can discover a lot about yourself. And that's when you need to learn how to, deal with those conflicts and maybe, yeah, develop better strategies to resolve those conflicts, better strategies to, to fight. Because sometimes you have to. You have to, I don't think that avoiding conflicts is a solution.
I don't think so either. I don't think
Mm.
so either.
And so, first, I think when I was very young and I was very unexperienced with conflict resolution, I probably reacted very volatile, very emotional. I wanted to end the relationship because I just thought that it was too much. I couldn't deal with conflict. I couldn't. Then I'd much rather be alone. Goodbye.
Right. Yeah.
Um, it had elements of the lack of self-regulation, like I could not really regulate my emotions.
Mm-hmm.
I had fists of anger.
Mm-hmm.
um that could even turn into aggression every now and then. I remember breaking objects, breaking windows, breaking glasses,
Oh my God.
yeah. um So
You was
yeah,
breaking stuff
that's
that
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Szilard.
That was Szilard. I don't know how many years ago.
Oh my gosh.
Um. Yes. So yeah, and then yeah, I learned to slowly, very slowly,
I cannot imagine you breaking nothing right now. I cannot imagine that.
through a series of relationships, better strategies
Yeah,
to fight.
I understand.
But what about you? We can go into
Back
details
and forth.
later.
Yeah.
But what about you?
For me, I think being quite honest, I have had a long history of shutting down in relationships because of um conflict resolution. I think it was very hard for me to be honest with my feelings and have open and honest
Mm,
communication with people, which is why I value our relationship so much, is because you allow me to be crazy, you allow me to be, and you do kind of tell me like, I didn't like that,
mm,
and we can come back together with a mutual understanding of you know. So I think that yeah, in the past, I mean, my friend Alexis, my friend Jamal, Niger, a lot of my friends from childhood, high school, they would tell you how like I really shut down. I stopped talking to people. I was very avoidant of conflicts,
mm,
and I resulted in like, okay, I'm just gonna stop talking to you, and then I'm just gonna be like, I'm just gonna focus on my career. You know what I mean? And
mm,
I'm just gonna focus on uh I'm better than you because because of what I have, or I'm better than you because of
mm,
what my yeah, and I think that's that, not to put anybody down, but I think I because I did have some complicated uh times in my childhood of being bullied with other school members and in church and with family members sometimes, not in my immediate family, but um yeah, there were times where I did try to express myself, and I did not have a voice, and I didn't feel confident enough to speak my mind. And so when I did get to of age, even in my 20s, I just shut down.
mm.
You know.
Okay. Yeah. Um, the question comes to me now. You mentioned your environment as you were a child. I
Mhm.
think I think we learn certain strategies as we grow up,
Yes.
how to resolve conflicts or yeah, how to fight. Um, so I think what our parents show us and what our
Grandparents.
grandparents and our friends um, that sticks with us, and
Hmm.
that's how we start resolving our own conflicts, and then later probably, if we're lucky, we learn new strategies as well.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I think so. Yeah, I can clearly feel a difference between us now because you described, if I understood you correctly, that you were like shutting down
Hmm.
and avoiding conversations,
Yes. Yes.
and I was also shutting down, but I was leaving. I was ending the
Me
relationship.
too. Me too. Yeah.
Oh, well, then it's not much of a difference. So then it turns out we both had this pattern of, rather than resolving a conflict and talking it through
Yeah.
and maybe find a compromise, we just ended the relationship, or we just shut down and we avoided um
Yeah.
the situations. But and you said that your environment was a little bit abusive, or they were bullying you.
Yeah. There were
Yeah.
moments where there were moments of that.
Mm,
Yeah.
I remember that my parents were fighting all the time
Mhm, yeah.
when I was a kid, and especially when we were driving somewhere. I mean, they were driving, my father was driving, and we're sitting in the car, all four of us, my mother, my sister, and then there was something, and they were always fighting in the car. And we were sitting at the back, kids, and I guess I learned from that situation to keep my mouth shut.
Yes.
Because I just realized that if I say something now, then the fire will get bigger,
Right.
and so it's just better if I don't say anything, if I don't express my needs, or I don't even say anything, my thoughts or feelings, just
Shut
keep,
down.
yeah, keep shut down and keep my mouth shut, because they are already frustrated, angry, stressed, my parents. And if I say something, then they would be, even uh, um, angrier,
Yeah.
um, and at me. So this whole energy could turn against me or against us, or so that. But it was very uncomfortable, and I am pretty sure that I picked up in those years some like strategies or certain scripts, how to fight and how to, and they were not necessarily helpful scripts or effective
Right.
scripts. And
So how did you mend that? How did you get out of that? How did you retrain yourself to communicate? Because I feel like we communicate very openly and honestly. You were very honest with me about how
well
you feel.
you were honest with me too, thank God.
Mhm, right. Thank you.
um well, you know the I think the challenge is that if you're young, I mean, that's what happened to me. Um I was young, and I thought that the way I saw things or I experienced things was reality.
Mhm.
That was the truth. What I saw, what I felt, what I thought.
Was the ultimate reality.
Yeah, and it took me a long time to realize that, hey, wait a second. That's only my reality.
Mhm.
Those are only my thoughts, my feelings, and my perspective. That's not the ultimate reality. That's just one perspective. And so if I'm just trying to convince the other people, the other person, my partner, that I am right, that's not gonna help, because we can talk hours and hours and hours, but we're like, why would that other person accept my perspective if his or hers is very different? So then, I realized that, wait a minute, the way that I see things, the way that I experience things, are not the ultimate reality,
Right.
and then the way that he meant it wasn't the way I interpreted it.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, certain actions were not meant to do this and that to me. It was
Right.
my interpretation
Your
that
interpretation.
it was my interpretation that caused the damage in me, and that made me angry. So yeah, well, there are all different kinds of conflicts. It's not just one of them. But I suppose if you have a different opinion, that's one kind of a conflict.
Right.
Um, and I
But it's not
think
the end of the world to have a different opinion.
no, 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 it's not. And a lot of misunderstandings. Like, you do something, and I think that you did it before you wanted to achieve this or that,
Right.
or you said something, and I thought you interpreted it that you meant this and that, and that might be wrong.
Right.
And so then it's really worth taking the time, figuring it out. You know,
Mhm.
what your intentions were, and I
But
think
to have an but to have could you say it is more important to have an attention to would you say it's more important to have an intention to at least try to understand what somebody is trying to understand?
Well, yeah, 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 of course. I mean, you need to have that intention because otherwise, you know, you would not come to compromises, or you would not come to agreements with your partner. And I think, I mean, maybe in a marriage it's different than in a relationship. First, you have a relationship with someone, and at some point you might decide to get married. But if you do decide to get married, with the marriage vow, you already uh, declare that you are ready
Mhm.
to try to understand, and you're willing to try to understand the other person no matter what.
Right.
And you try to presume that the other person doesn't do something or doesn't say something in order to hurt you
Right. Yeah.
or hurt your interest.
Right.
um, so I think with the marriage vow, you already, you know, expressed your willingness to at least to try to understand
To try.
the other person. And yeah, it
But
is.
I guess you don't have to necessarily be married because it doesn't have to necessarily apply to
No,
marriage. It can apply
no.
to siblings. It can apply to parent-child relationships. It can apply to employers.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It can apply to colleagues. You know, I think it's so important to be honest. I don't know. That's something that that's been coming to me, and I know I'm not like 75, but I feel like I've lived in this body a little bit, and I do feel like the truth
Mhm.
is so important, and honoring the
Truth.
truth of my spirit
Ah,
in any
okay.
situation can help me to or and trying to not only honoring the truth of my spirit, but also attempting and seeking to understand the truth of another person's spirit
Okay.
is so
Hmm.
important in any kind of conflict
Yeah.
resolution. Do you feel the same?
Yeah, yeah, of course. I think so. Yeah, it took time for me to understand that another person might have a totally valid and different perspective
Mhm.
from mine. And my perspective is not the only one and not the ultimate truth or reality. That's one thing. I think another important thing is to express your feelings
Right, and be
and be honest with your feelings. I mean, if you're upset and if something really hurt you, then you need to be able to say that. You can't expect that the other person will find that out somehow. The other person can read your mind or heart, um, because you know sometimes you can't tell what the other person is thinking or
no,
feeling.
no, you cannot.
So if there is a problem, if there's a conflict, first of all, you need to express, I think, that something's off, something's not right. You feel something. You need to express your feelings.
Right,
Um, that's the first thing, because then it also establishes empathy and understanding from the other part,
right.
because we might find it difficult to agree with an opinion
Mhm, mhm.
that's different from ours, but we can certainly understand the feeling from another person, so
And
it's much
agree to
easier.
disagree.
Yeah, and much easier to connect to the feelings of the other person. You
Right.
might have a different opinion about something, or it might have different ideas, but at least you can relate to the feelings that I have,
Mhm.
and that's already a point where we can come together. We can come to at least on the same wavelength, and then we can try to discuss these thoughts or these interpretations. Like I felt that you said this because, is that true? And then it might turn out that no, it's not true. You had a completely different intention, or the information that you had was not correct um, when you said certain things. Mm, yeah, so it took me a long time in my relationships to learn to actually discuss and express emotions honestly, rather than feeling that, oh, the other person is just stupid, rather than jumping to judgments,
Right.
walking away, breaking things, ending the relationship, um, but actually to talk about the differences, the different thoughts, and
And be having a willingness to talk about it is
yeah,
important.
yeah, okay. um um
So I guess where we can another question is um in your in moving forward.
mhm.
What are some tips and tricks that you can? I mean, I feel like really we talked about that already. Like having a
Well,
willingness to talk to
well,
understand.
well, um, there are different kinds of conflicts,
Hmm.
and it could help to try to understand what kind of a conflict are we having right now.
Right.
Um, is that an interest conflict? In a relationship, it's very rare because usually people in a relationship or in a marriage have the same interest.
Right.
But there might be still situations where our interests are a little bit different.
Hmm.
Um, and then in that case, we just have to find a compromise, or you need to have a plan how to satisfy our needs and meet our interests in a way that it doesn't hurt the other person or doesn't damage the relationship. If it's like an opinion conflict, like we have different opinions about something, then then um then we can just try to accept the other person's opinion, or we can try to make the other person understand where we come from,
Hmm. Hmm.
in order to explain why I think that.
Right.
And we still don't have to agree, but at least if you know where I'm coming from,
Right. Right.
then you might better understand. And then it can also just simply come to acceptance. Some conflicts we cannot uh, um, solve. Sometimes we just have to live with the fact that you have a different opinion about this than I do. But in order to be able to accept it, you have to come to an emotional understanding,
Hmm.
and you have to be able to understand the other person's reasons
Right.
and where he or she's coming from.
Exactly. So, but do
Um,
you think that there are some things that we can accept about each other without the relationship failing, or do you think that there are some things that are just completely off? Off.
well, well, well. I think in a relation, well, I think we constantly evolve
Yes.
and develop in a relationship or even alone, throughout our life, and in a relationship we can support each other
Hmm.
in that development, um, by giving feedback to the other person, or actively you know helping the other person to maybe form better habits, or to learn better strategies, or at least try different strategies
Yeah.
and to see if they work better. So I think we both grow in this relationship and we change
Mhm.
and we can support each other in that. But I think the precondition of that is acceptance. So first of all, I love you the way you are, and that has, the way you are is a combination of things that I love about you
Yeah.
and a combination of things that I'm okay about you. And maybe there are a few things that irritate me about you.
Yeah.
And but those are the things that we can figure out
Yeah.
at the beginning, and we did figure it out, I
And we're
think.
constantly figuring it out. I
And
am
then we can come to some kind of a solution, but we
right.
but I that belongs, all those things, it's a whole package. And if I love you, I cannot do like cannot picking, you know raisins out of the bread. I mean, it's the whole thing. I gotta, eat you all,
Ah! Well,
as you are.
I
So,
think yeah, yeah, and
and
I
then there, just to finish this sentence, there are things that I'm okay about you. I'm not necessarily in love with those things,
yeah,
but I'm totally fine that you do certain things differently, and it's totally fine. It doesn't bother me. I just accept it. Um, and the things that if there are things that are really bothering me, I try to
tell me. And
tell
you do,
you.
and I appreciate you for being open and honest with me instead of because in the past I've had situations where people would be and I don't want to slander anybody, but I do there is a way of telling people like, okay, I didn't like how you did this, and that is to me a sign of care.
Mm,
For somebody to tell you like this is not I hey, I want to make the relationship work. I want this to happen. To have open and honest communication in that regard
mm.
is a sign of wanting the relationship to work. And I think that that should be applauded. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. um yeah, I guess, it's just, this whole topic of conflict has a lot to do with, stress and how you react to stress, because having a conflict with someone is a stress. And
Yeah.
in a typical stress situation, there are these, fight or flight, or freeze answers, and you
Mhm.
can you can run away.
Right.
um, you can become totally paralyzed
Mhm.
and just not being able to deal with the situation, or you can fight with the other person. um and there's also like another, y- you know idea behind this stress model, is that um it is your interpretation of the
Mhm.
situation that matters, not the things that were being said or being done, but it's your interpretation that
Yes.
creates the conflict and creates
Yes.
the stress itself.
It is.
And so it is worth examining the interpretation, whether it's correct.
Whether right. And I think in order to at least to do that, I think requires ugh, at least wanting to make the effort to do that, wanting to make
Yeah,
the effort to
yeah,
sustain a relationship. And I
but
feel like it's two parts. It's not just it's it's two parts.
yeah. But I wanted to talk about these other two options
Yeah.
as well, because they are valid options too. There are some cases when you need to run away.
I think so too. Yes, when
And
somebody
that's totally a legitimate and a smart move.
yeah.
Sometimes you just have to move away from a situation when you feel that you would not be able to react in a proper manner.
Yes, yes, I
And
agree.
so before you do something stupid or say something stupid, I think it's better to just walk out and take a deep breath,
Yeah,
or just come back to that conversation the next day.
exactly.
Um, and even
Or
free,
but you know what?
yeah,
Sometimes I think that letting go is sometimes the most is the healthiest thing that you can do with certain things because if somebody shows you repetitively that they are not willing to at least meet you halfway
mm,
or at least try to attempt to change their behavior or look in the mirror as and see how they are hurting you, then that person and if you express that to you, you don't have to continue to um you don't have to continue to tolerate that. And this is something that I'm learning to accept within myself because I have such a big heart and I don't want to boast, but I'm saying I have continuously allowed people to come into my life and keep giving them the benefit of the doubt because I want to be seen as this, I have this people pleaser syndrome, but if people are not willing to meet you and be real with you, then you have there's nothing wrong with sending people love and having gratitude for that person and then going your separate ways.
yeah, yeah. Sometimes that's also the best solution, even in a marriage. Sometimes marriages end. Sometimes you have to say goodbye to each other,
Right.
and that's for the better for both, or at least for one of them. But also like having a break, like having like saying goodbye for a shorter time period could also help
I
sometimes. If
think so too.
there's a big conflict, both of them are hurt. You know, spending a few days alone on your
To
to process it and to realize what the other person means to you, and what kind of a change you wish,
mhm,
and what kind of a change would be possible in you, in that other person, in the relation. That's also totally valid, and sometimes the best option. Even a break of 10 minutes
right.
sometimes can be helpful. And some I heard that idea and I think it's really helpful. You know, it's good to tell your partner how you are doing and how much energy you have left at the end of the day. If you come home after a long um, day, after many hours of work, you might have had a frustrating date, lots of conflicts, lots of problems. It's a good thing to say that to your partner so that he might not start a really difficult conversation on that night, but
Yes.
he might wait for the next day. So an honest communication about where you are at
Mhm.
emotionally
But
and
not, but also financially, everything. Just I mean, this is something else that I'm thinking about. I'm realizing like just
financially. Like what do you mean, like in terms of in a relationship or conflict, or like in a marriage?
well, I think it's both. I think it's all of it. I think being honest, period. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
I know
okay.
that was random. Sorry, let's get back
Okay,
on topic.
okay.
Let's get back on the topic, please. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So, so for example, I knew because we started this conversation how I dealt with conflicts at the beginning, like in my first relationship, and how that changed that strategy, that pattern. And sometimes I catch myself when I'm just overly stressed
Hmm.
and overly frustrated with other things, not you, not with our relationship or something, then I just know that I just need to keep breathing tonight and not jump on things that annoy me.
Yeah.
Just breathe it through because it's not you, it's my bad day, you know. So it's not worth, you know, to picking up a fight or anything like that. So some tricks of emotional regulation, some you know, to walk around the block. You know, if you feel that you need some fresh air, you need to calm down.
Right.
Not to start certain topics if you know that you don't have the energy, you don't have the patience, or your partner is not in position
Accept all of
to
that.
accept all of that or to take that.
Yeah.
So choosing the right time, choosing the right place is also a strategy that you can adopt.
Planning.
Planning, being honest about your frustrations and
Yes.
your emotions. Don't say, "How are you doing?" "Oh, I'm fine." If you're
If you're
not,
not fine, and
if
this
you're
is
not fine, then just say that you're not fine.
right.
You're angry, you're frustrated, you're this or that,
Yeah.
and you don't need to feel ashamed that you're being negative.
Hmm.
Well, if you feel negative, then you can just say it, and then let go of it, and then it will change.
Exactly.
Um, yeah, yeah. So is there anything else that you want to say or ask?
No, I think we covered it, and I am just grateful that we are even able to do this. I feel that I have in the past, I have struggled with this. I've struggled with being this people pleaser syndrome and like acting like everything is okay and it's not, and then it eating
Mm,
me up inside, and that,
mm.
or yeah, just I think that's been the biggest. It's been huge for me. So I'm grateful that we can have that conversation with each other. You know.
I am grateful that we can actually talk about pretty much everything, and
Yeah,
we do,
we
and we
do.
do, and we enjoy it.
And it's very liberating. I think the truth will literally set you free. It's very
Mm,
liberating process to be honest. You know, because if
mm,
you're honest with somebody and they reject you, then that's you have to give them love and gratitude and then and find somebody else. I think one thing I'm realizing being in Germany, I saw something on Threads, this app, it was saying how um living abroad will permanently kind of change how you see the world.
mm,
And I feel that way. I know that's on tangent, but I feel that way as regarding my relationships and the way I approach things because I'm realizing how big the world is, how many different variations of people there are on the planet,
mm,
and
mm.
you know, there's all you can do is be yourself.
Okay, sounds good to me. So thank you guys for watching,
Okay.
and you can comment, you can like us, you can suggest topics,
Yeah.
and see you next time.
See you next time.